In 1991, game designer Michael Berlin came across the original Sonic the Hedgehog. He loved the game so much that he ended up playing it for 14 hours a day for a whole week, and decided to make his own game just like it. This game was Bubsy, in Claws Encountered of the Third Kind. The game began development on December 6, 1991, and was originally going to be released exclusively on the Sega Mega Drive, aka Genesis, in the US in September 1992. But Accolade were having legal troubles with Sega due to them releasing unlicensed games for the console, causing the game to be delayed until July 1993. During this delay, in December 1992, children who lived near Accolade's office in San Jose, California, were invited to playtest the game and give their thoughts. This resulted in having secret underground paths added in the first level. They also had a group named Solid Software develop the Super Nintendo version. Now, I personally believe that the game should have been Nintendo exclusive, so Nintendo kids had a Sonic-like game for the console. But Bubsy didn't want to be an alternative, he wanted to be the king of mascot platformers. The game's director, John Skeel, said in an interview that they wanted their game to be as fast as Sonic and as deep as Mario. That would be easy to play, but hard to master. This was the only Bubsy game that was ever released in Japan. It is known as Yamaneko Bubsy no Daibōken. I don't think I said that right. The game is identical, except Bubsy's voice lines were dubbed in Japanese. The game was really well received when it came out, and the game even won some awards, leading to the sequel, Bubsy 2. But all this praise isn't what caused ideas for the game to be pitched. In fact, the team started thinking of ideas for the game a few months before the first game even released. During this time, they also created a pilot for a TV show which was horrible and didn't go anywhere. Bubsy 2 was developed by a different team within Accolade, without Michael Berlin. The game ended up releasing on October 15th, 1994 on the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive, and August 15th, 1995 on the Game Boy. This version is drastically different from the others with less levels and different level design. Just like the first game, Bubsy 2 was also well received. 2 months later, after Bubsy 2 came out, we ended up getting Bubsy in Fractured Furry Tales. The game was released exclusively on the Atari Jaguar. In 1993, Accolade signed a deal with Atari to become a third-party developer. Accolade licensed out Bubsy 1 to be ported over to the console. During development, it was decided to make an original game using the source code they were given, due to Bubsy 1 not being the newest game. Unlike the previous two games, this game garnered mixed reception from critics, due to it using the source code from the first game, meaning any improvements made in Bubsy 2 aren't in this game. And that was the final Bubsy game ever made. Bubsy 3D? What's that? I'm just trying to play Donkey Kong. Ah! Bubsy 3D Forbidden Planet was released on the US in November 26, 1996 and August 1997 in PAL regions, and it was the final Bubsy game for 21 years. And what a game to go out on! Bubsy 3D was developed by Eidetic and published by Accolade. This was the second Bubsy game that had Michael Berlin as the designer, which is just really strange. Who at Accolade decided to not have Michael Berlin work on Bubsy 2? Well, according to Berlin, Accolade reached out to him in hopes of revitalizing the series after the disappointing performance of the second and third games. He said yes, under the condition that the game would be in 3D. During this time, 3D didn't really exist in video games. The only examples I'm aware of from that time are Star Fox and 3D World Runner. So Michael had set up to make one of the first 3D platformers ever. The game began development on April 1995 with a team of only 8 people, and boy, does the final product show. 9 months later, Berlin attended the January 1996 Consumer Electronics Show, and while he was there, he saw the demonstration for Super Mario 64, and noticed how bad Bubsy 3D looked in comparison. But Accolade had already set a release date. It was too late to do anything except try to make the game as good as possible within the short time limit remaining. The game originally received mixed and negative reviews, but is now known as one of the worst games of all time. In a 2015 interview, Berlin called the game his biggest failure, and Lani Minella, who voiced Bubsy, said her work for the game was one of her least favorite and described the voice as irritating. Yep, sounds about right. And that was all for Bubsy, until June 2017, where Bubsy, The Woolies Strike Back was announced. Released on Halloween 2017, which is fitting because Black Forest Games and UFO Interactive Games decided to resurrect Bubsy from his grave to scare away children in costumes. The game's announcement was not received well in the slightest. But accolades seem to have expected this and created a Twitter account for Bubsy that makes self-deprecating comments about the franchise. Then, on May 16th, 2019, Bubsy, Paws of Fire was released. Developed by Choice Provisions, a company who are fans of Bubsy. They went through and recycled characters from older games and even the cartoon pilot. And the game was funded by Kickstarter and raised $25,000. And that's it for Bubsy's reboot. There's really nothing to say besides, it just happened. Like, these games are so bland and lifeless. Unlike Bubsy 1 and Fractured Tales, those have so much color and are full of life and personality. In April 2023, Atari SA reacquired the license to Bubsy and over 100 other titles from Tomo and Billionsoft. And Bubsy, in the perfect collection, has been announced for a 2025 release. And I'm not gonna buy it. I don't want to play Bubsy 3D on the go. I'm only playing on my PS1 like how it's supposed to be played.